Broadcasting from Watts Creative Studios and live on Grove Street FM. You're listening to Cool Talk Live, brought to you by Brown's Heating and Air, with your host, Brandon Brown.
Good morning. Welcome to Cool Talk with Brown's Heating and Air. Welcome everybody that's listening worldwide, I think, hopefully. Got some great news.
Global.
I don't know where Woody's the host of this, so I got to thank him. But he got some big news this weekend. He got several podcasts, but he got alerted that Cool Talk was in the top 10%, I guess, of business podcasts.
You top 10% of podcasts. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know. Who did you pay to get us up there? Did you have to send a check to Apple or something? Or
yeah,
they must really love us.
Yeah, I shot him an email. I said, yes. Do you know who's on this podcast? It's Brandon Brown.
But that's awesome.
Citizen of the Year.
And that's to your listeners. Thank you for listening and actually taking time to listen to us 20 to 30 minutes a week when we come on. Of course, some of us just babbling or just talking about different business stuff, of course, and having fun. But thank you for listening. Thank you for following us. If you haven't followed yet or have somebody that wants to follow us, search us. We're on podcast of Apple, Spotify, all the podcast platforms. You can search Cool Talk and just follow us and and check us out when you have some downtime. I really didn't. I come in today, really did not have a planned day. Usually I'm always working Monday and Tuesdays on what I need to talk about today, but I was off this past. We actually left Sunday and went to the homestead with my father. We took our father-in-law, my father-in-law, to homestead he's never been. He's turning 70 this week. Yeah. So in order, just to get him kind of a big birthday, we went to the homestead and it was awesome, relaxing. Now I'm going to tell you what's amazing. If you haven't done it, you need to go to the homestead and swim in their pools, because I didn't know the indoor pools like this, but it's hot springs up there, which well, the pools, and you read about it, the indoor and outdoor pool is fed by the spring. Oh. So it's, and they considered it back years ago when this was built, mineral water. So doctors would recommend. So people would come all over the country to the homestead just to get into these pools. Like we went out to one well. They got a brick wall around it, and they tell you about the spring. It's 105 year round. So we were up there, actually got up there Sunday. It was snowing, 30 degrees, windy, and it's just steaming water. And I have no idea how it stays that warm.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the pool is fed. They do some chemicals, and I could tell a difference, because when we got out, I literally, how you getting it out of an indoor pool and all that chlorine, your skin is rough and dry.
You almost have to take a shower after
you feel nasty. We literally got out of the pool, and I felt like I had been in the best bath of my life.
That's awesome.
I swear, I felt like we bathed in lotion, one of Laura's homemade lotions. I swear to you, because the skin was soft, your breathing was better. I don't know. I guess because that mineral water.
Oh man, I got to go up there.
You got to go. I mean, this place is amazing. Anyway, it's huge. It's a lot of history there. And they actually, I think one of the ballrooms, they said they actually came all the way in for one of the 1990s movies with Richard Gere. Yeah. And filmed a dancing scene in one of the big ballrooms there. Yeah. So if you do the tour, they show you where they did that. They just came all the way to do that at the homestead. And that's the only thing they filmed was this big dancing scene. That's awesome. But it's awesome, because the water, I mean, it's a huge difference. It doesn't smell, because I don't like indoor pools, like with the chlorine. If you go to like the Y or something, I can't stay 30 minutes.
It burns your nose.
But you could stay in this one all day. It didn't have the smell. The water just felt different. Yeah. Because of the spring. It's really neat.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. I might put that on my list.
Definitely check it out, because they have a lot of them where the doctors would send people. Back years ago, people would come from miles around. Presidents, rich people, famous people would just stay there. One, because it was a nice resort, but two, for the water, the springs.
Exactly.
They got a nice spa there, and so we did that for his 70th birthday. We did the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because it's not as busy during the week. And so I'm not 100% planned for today. I was telling Woody, I was like, we moved some meetings this morning. I had to do a sales meeting before got here, and now I'm hoping I can be here. So I'll come in. I'm usually here early, so I still got here early.
You did great. Well, you're in the top 10%. Once you get to that point, whatever you talk about, Brandon.
I just hopefully people keep coming back.
I do. All right, so I did see something. Now this is Disney related. Okay.
Okay.
So we did see something, and I thought about you, and I was like, I want to talk about it a little bit. But so we noticed that Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney right now, so they announced that they are renovating the Grand Floridian. Right.
Right.
Like they're doing a complete overhaul. And so now I'm going to say this as a disclaimer. The Grand Floridian is way too expensive for me to stay at anyway. Like, it's not like I'm going to be able to stay there, whatever. But they released the renderings of what it's going to look like. And I got to be honest with you. Like, I'm so disappointed.
Really?
Because of
how much it costs to stay there,
Well,
you think you expect more.
Well, it's like I don't think it needs to be changed at all. I really don't. Like, I think it's beautiful. It has a
Just
style.
needs to be updated.
Yeah, but they're changing a lot. And if you've been to Disney and if you stayed in Coronado before and then you stayed after they remodeled, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, they went super modern with it and they're starting to abandon the traditional theming that when you go, like if you go to Fort Wilderness, it's a lodge. It hits you over the head with a lodge, right? It's wonderful. If you go to, let's see, if you go whatever other resort you go to, they hit you over the head with the theming. Well, they're starting to redo everything, and so the value resorts are starting to look a certain way,
right? And
then the moderate resorts are starting to look a certain way. And now that they're doing the Grand Floridian, like, I'm worried that they're going to lose the over-the-top theme. Like when you go to Great Wolf,
right?
Like it hits you. It's not like you're staying in the Hampton Inn,
right? Yes.
And I'm kind of worried they're getting away from that. I'm kind of like, I saw the renderings. I'm like, oh my gosh, no.
Because that's all about that's the experience when you stay on the resort. You want a themed, room. You want a themed area. Because the only time we've stayed on a resort, we stayed at the Disney the sports one.
Yes, All-Star Sports.
Yeah, All-Star Sports. And then since then we've done like houses off and all that. But we do like to tour them and look around. And yes, because of that, each one has its own mark and its own, I guess, distinctive difference about it.
Yeah.
But I have not seen the updates to that.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about. I don't know about Disney sometimes. I love them, but I see a little bit of news. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know that I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, we're we don't have any plans yet to go back for a while. We need to plan it, but I think this summer we're actually going to Clearwater, Florida for a week.
Nice.
Found a house for one of our best friends. Their daughter's graduating, and that was really what she wanted for senior year. Is somewhere on the Gulf. Try to find something with some clear water, white sand, because we usually go to Emerald Isle, but something different. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But we are going to hopefully. I know there's a lot of people that listen that are small business owners, supervisors, leaders, different things. So what I'd like to do, what I am going to do in the next several weeks, I'm starting to put together. I want to put together a little mini kind of study or series to go over on the podcast, mainly about business. How to time management. Getting the great customer service. We do take pride in that at Brown's Heat and Air. One, from with our process from start to finish, being notified, and what we do for our customers above and beyond that other places don't. So I like to really want to bring that out. If you're running a small business and you're looking for ways, or maybe you're struggling hiring or promoting your business, or really getting that wow factor to make you stand out, because like in our industry in Lynchburg here, there's probably 30, 40 heat and air companies. What makes Brown's stand out? And that's what we strive on and work on daily. So I'm going to put together a mini series for different, may even have a guest, during that series, kind of really go over the foundation of your business and where it needs to be to build that. So if you have any ideas or suggestions or questions of something you would like for me to go over in that mini series, something you've either struggled with or want to know how we do, if you see how our company goes through, how we do certain things, send us a message, cooltalkpodcast.com. If you go to cooltalkpodcast.com, there's a contact us area there where you can submit a form, your name, email, and a question or anything, send it to us so we'll get it. So as we're putting this together, I like to do a 3 or 4 week thing, every 30 minutes a week of something, a subject like that, to help people that are either starting a small business or you've been in business a couple of years, and you need help on something. It could be, like I said, time management, hiring, what you could do to go above and beyond, maybe to add extra wow to the customer to make you stand out so that you're guaranteed that callback. It could be, or even a service company, or you may have a mom and pop shop that, what can you do to get that customer in every couple months, coming to your store and not somewhere else. So I really like to put that together because I know, like I said, I take pride in what we do as Browns, but I've never really sat back and thought about it. How do, it's just natural to us, and me, how we do it, but I really never thought about how to put it out to other people so their companies can grow. So this is something new I want to do to kind of help other companies, because I've always had the desire to kind of help coach other companies. I've said before, like, as I grow, I'd like to go around the state or the nation, if there's other heat and air companies that are starting, and actually show them how I've done stuff to help them grow, like a little, business coaching wise. I would love to do that. So this is just something to get it started, something we could put together. So please let us know. I don't care where you're listening. Everywhere is listening. Everybody has the same business. I've noticed, a lot of people have the same business issues. Of course, right now it's inflation and pricing. So how do you combat that and keep getting the business, without, when you still raise prices, they're going to come to you, whether you're the high, even if you may be the highest, they know the experience you get, this, the quality you get, the service you get is going to stand out above the rest. And it's worth that extra 5-10% that you're getting quoted from somebody that's, smaller and really doesn't know how to price their work, because they're just pricing to get the job. So that's something I really want to help people do, especially in these times. It's a lot. I've noticed in our company, as we grow, it's a lot easier when you're smaller, of course. But now that we're 22, 23 employees, I've noticed that I've got to start. We didn't do it before. One thing we're changing is we used to meet every month, 4 to 6 weeks. We'd meet with their, leaders and go over this, talk about this, but you really have to meet weekly.
Yeah.
If you have a company with multiple people and multiple things going on, you've got to meet weekly. I used to say, nah, we don't want to, you don't want to waste their time, but we've started doing that the last couple of months, every week, having a leadership meeting or a sales meeting, and it's made a huge difference. Finding out from your supervisors really what their struggle is, and finding out what their main issue is, because if you only meet every 5 or 6 weeks and they're doing something wrong for 5 or 6 weeks, then it's a whole lot harder to fix. And if you can meet weekly and fix things slowly, it's a whole lot easier to get your system in place. Yep. So I did finding that out myself, even though we've been in business 17 years, we recently found out that, we've got to meet. You've got to meet weekly. And I know it's hard to do, like Woody was talking, but we were talking before the show. It's hard to hire people when you get to the point where you need to hire, because you say, I can do this myself.
Yeah.
And you can do it, but you really need the help.
Yeah.
Because if you try to do everything, then you may start slacking on one of the other areas. Yeah. So you want to be able to do, and I don't know, your line of work, it's got to be, I know you can do everything, but you got to have someone to help,
well, and it's
video or record. And
you probably went through this too. Like, customers get to know you and they like working with you.
Yes.
But then if you want to grow, you kind of need to duplicate yourself in some way. But then for a small business owner, it's different, because your business is a piece of you. Your last name is on the building and the vans. Yeah. And so it takes a lot of trust when you hire somebody, and now like 20-some employees, like every time you hire somebody, it's kind of like, you're bringing them into like a family.
Yeah.
And so like you depend on them, and it's not like a mass hiring thing. So and I think people, now just people forget that. Like they forget, like, it's not an easy thing, because you've got to go through training, you've got to go through paperwork, you've got to go through this, and it's
and hope they're in the same mindset
and
background that you're in. My number one quality that we look for and it's mandatory when we hire because we are stricter on hiring. I mean, yes, we've gotten a few that we would think would make it and they didn't, but we're stricter on our hiring, and that's mainly the personality and how you treat people. I've turned down or not hired people that have had more experience than me and that could really do the job because I did not have that connection that every customer is going to be treated the way they should be, 110%. So, and that, growing, that definitely was our biggest challenge because I was the one in the field for out of 17 years, the first 12 years probably.
Yeah.
I was at every job. I was doing every job, even as we had employees and all the connections and people I know, now they'll still call or try to call me, and call me knowing I've got office of people in place, hey, can you come do this? Can you do this? Or they'll call the office, is Brandon available to talk to? And that was the hardest. So me putting people in place to run the stuff that I'm not going to do, I had to train them and make sure they knew this is how I would handle the situation so that no matter what happens, whoever comes out from Brown's Heating and Air, they're going to handle the situation the way I would, so the people, because people expect that, they expect they've dealt with me for so many years. So that was the hardest transition, definitely letting go and putting enough trust into other people. But if you have the right people, and the right process and the right people to accept your way, because a lot of people you can hire may know how to do the job, but they think their way is better. But you've got to have somebody, when you hire and put people in place as a leader, you've got to have them as like-minded as you, able to accept the way you do it. I mean, just think about it. Chick-fil-A has thousands of employees, thousands
that buy in and that are invested, that are all on the same page.
Yes, but go through the drive-through, no matter what state, you're going to get the same kind of you better get the same experience, or they're out. But they hire thousands of people and go through these trainings of how to treat people and customers and make sure their 10 minutes in that drive-through is the best experience of their life. And that's why the line wraps around the building, but it goes quick than anybody else because they're bought into the owner or the manager's expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what you have to put in place when growing a company, and a lot of people, that's the one thing I see in businesses, that the first thing that fails is people get put into place that don't carry out what that business was meant to do, or their goals and philosophies, and then it starts to struggle downhill pretty quick.
Exactly.
So that's the biggest challenge if you're a small business looking to grow. Don't just settle for the person that you first get or the first thing that comes up because you need it. Make sure you pre-plan. You got to look ahead and know if I'm going to need somebody. Hopefully you're looking ahead now for the fall. You're not looking ahead now, all of a sudden putting somebody in 2 weeks in charge, because that's the one that's, if you don't have time to mold them and teach them your way and the way you would handle a customer complaint, or you would handle an employee issue, or a job going the wrong way. If you don't already have them in the mindset of you, then you're always going to be working in the business, not on the business.
Yep.
So in order to grow, that's one thing I want to try to, I want to put out. I want to get a good series together. I don't know how long it'll be. It may take several weeks. Hopefully we can get a lot of people to email in or message us with issues that they want to go over, or how we do, and so I can explain it a little better and break it out, and take time to get these subjects so that people can learn from them, because no matter what state you're in, everybody has the same. If you're dealing with the public, I've always said that's the hardest business type of business you'll ever run. It's just dealing, because things change, people change, everybody has a different way they live or spend money or want, interact. So, you really have to have a well-rounded person in charge if you're going to pass the torch to anybody in supervising or a leadership role, because every day you're going to deal with somebody different, and
even in the last 2 years, right? Even expectations from customers and public has changed. So like you keep to your core fundamentals, right?
Right.
But even in you probably know this, like even the same install that you've done the last 20 years, right?
Yeah.
You know, like that customer then versus the customer now, just expectations are different. Questions are different.
Yeah.
Like every scenario is different. And as a small business owner, you are constantly adapting. Like
Yeah.
it is unbelievable. Like on every conversation, it's like it's a different. So there is no template.
Yeah, there isn't, and you're right because you have to stay ahead. Like right now, we're already planning for January of 2023 because the energy code and the laws are changing on us again. So back in 2012, they changed the energy law where the minimum like SEER rating for a heat pump had to be 14. That's the efficiency of your unit. It had to be 14. Before that, it was like, I think it was 12. So they went up to 14. So what that means is the way they test equipment, the way they have to sell it, the way it goes in your house, all the codes and laws around it changes to be more efficient. So we've been doing 14 since then. Now, January 2023, the minimum SEER is going up to 15. But in reality, it's really a 16 SEER unit because they're now increasing how they test equipment to pass the local standards and the energy for the government. Their standards are higher. So really, next year, our minimum SEER is 15, but the way they're tested, our current 16 SEER will become a 15.
Huh.
So they're
changing.
Yes, and they're increasing it. They're making it even harder to pass to be a 15 SEER. So now everything's going to drop. So really, it's a what we consider now today legally a 16 SEER becomes a 15, and 17 becomes a 16. So that changes everything. So starting fall, they're just going to start selling out stock. And by January, every company's got to be up to date on the newer efficiency codes. The size of the units change. You know, how much the size of the ductwork coming off of it changes. And if you're not already pre-active right now planning for that as a heat and air business owner, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You're really going to be struggling because it is, it becomes illegal. You cannot sell anything below these standards January 1st. I hear a phone ringing. You hear a phone ring?
It is. It's the phone in the lobby now. I need to
I thought somebody was. Is somebody calling the show?
Down.
Let's answer.
Somebody's calling. You've got your first business owner.
Your first guest. Hey, put them on. You're live with Cool Talk.
You remember that? You remember the radio show Car Talk back in the day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I used to love that. And I'm not even that big of a, like I know a little bit about Jeeps because I've had a couple, the inline 6 motors, and I know a little bit enough to get me in trouble where I have to call a mechanic friend to come bail me out. But I loved that show because of the spontaneity and people just calling in and you never know when their answer. It's like
you don't know what you're gonna get.
You never know.
That was pretty cool. I saw we had a caller.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, but yeah, that's things you have to look for. Is always be ahead of the game, knowing that change is coming because that's a huge change. Because it's immediately. It's not like we're going to give you till July of next year to change it. They're telling us now, as of January 1st, anything you install has to meet these requirements. And if you're not, it's illegal. You can be fined. You can lose your license and stuff like that. So it's things like that a business owner always is looking at. You have to always be planning ahead. Plan ahead now. If you're in a slow season, planning for the busy season, get your training done, get your people right so that you can grow. And especially with the price increases, it seems like every week we're getting a call. We used to be able to guarantee prices for 30 days. Now we tell a customer, it might change tomorrow. And it's really sad. It's hard. And I know there's a lot of small businesses struggling with that. Price increasing, the gas increasing. So, get ahead of that. Try to, so that I know people want to avoid price increases on the customer, but I know it's hard to do.
It's hard.
And inevitably you're going to have to go up so you can keep meeting your margins. So that's where it comes key to do the good job for somebody so that your name's there and they're going to help make sure you stay in business. So thank you all for listening, and we will be back next week.